Every single successful entrepreneur that you look up to has had seasons where it looked like nothing was happening, despite them putting in so much effort. In fact, even a year ago, I wanted to throw in the towel. I was spinning my wheels trying everything, but rather than give up, I decided to go all in. And at that point, my business went from feeling like I wasn't seeing any results to generating almost $400,000 in the span of 6 months. And if you're in a season right now of your business where you feel like you are putting so much effort in, but not seeing the results, I want to share with you exactly how to navigate this season, because in truth, the breakdown is likely right before the breakthrough. Setbacks in business are actually a part of the game and a healthy part of the flow of being a business owner. We look at Richard Branson, Steve Jobs, all of these mega successful entrepreneurs have had moments where they've wanted to give up. So I want to teach you exactly how to stay positive in these seasons, because I guarantee that if you are able to show up as a powerful leader during this time that most people would give up, you will solidify your success. But let me ask you a question. Would you give up if you knew that your success is guaranteed? Any individual, unless you were absolutely crazy, would say, of course, Ava, of course I would keep going. But the reality is, most people, when they don't see instant results, assume that they are failing. Just because you're not seeing instant results doesn't mean that you're not making forward progress. I love the analogy of bamboo. Did you know that it takes 5 freaking years for bamboo to crack through the soil? 5 years of watering, being nourished by the soil, nothing happening that we can see with the visible eye, and then boom, one day the bamboo cracks through the soil, and within 6 weeks can grow up to 90 feet. But that's just talking about a plant. Let's talk about business. For example, the first 3 years of my business, I was doing absolutely everything and barely seeing any return. Again, I wanted to throw in the towel. But in year 4, I ended up quadrupling my income from the year before. If I had given up too early, I never would have had that quantum leap in year 4. If I had let the feeling of not making forward progress knock me down and convince me to go back to my corporate job, I never would have had that massive growth spurt in year 4, year 7, and year 9. So whether we're talking about business or bamboo, your brand is like that bamboo. There are fertile roots being planted, a foundation that you are building right now that one day will create a business beyond your wildest dreams. You just have to have the patience and the perspective to hold out in those seasons where it feels like nothing is working. And here's something that really helped me. You need to start measuring your progress a little bit differently than you have been. Now, oftentimes we only look at progress as how much money we're making, how big our follower count is, but in reality, there are so many things happening behind the scenes that mark forward momentum. For example, how much has your mindset improved since you first started your business? What are the little steps that you've been taking to get better at content, sales, marketing and advertising your services, working with your clients? All of these little things that you maybe don't look like as progress are actually indicators of you compounding your expertise and your ability to be a powerful leader over time. So instead of just tracking external results, I want you to start asking yourselves a couple of questions. The first one is, what have I done to get 1% better today than yesterday? The second is, what are the internal shifts that I've been able to notice about myself? Whether it's quality of life, quality of your thoughts, how you show up for yourself on a day-to-day basis. All of these things are indicators of progress and success. And then finally, what have I learned through the journey? If you look at every single moment in building your business as an opportunity to learn, then you're always taking 2 steps forwards, even if sometimes it feels like you're taking a step back. If you can shift your focus from why hasn't it happened yet to I'm building compound interest over time, you're going to start focusing on the things that are in your control versus out of your control, like the economy, the algorithm, when people buy. And in truth, you will drive yourself crazy if you're only focusing on the things that are out of your control. One of the biggest killers of momentum is obsession over immediate results. I know that I'm guilty of it so many times in the last decade of building my business, but this is where so many entrepreneurs tend to fail. They launch a new offer, they launch a new product, they put out a post on social media, and if they don't get the immediate expected results, they go so hard in doubting themselves and telling these stories of, I'm not good enough, it'll never happen for me. And again, I get it. I've been there many times, but when the stories that you're telling are less of the happily ever after and more of those terrifying nightmares, you need to rearrange and reprogram your mindset to focus on long-term vision and the things that are in your control. There's actually a really funny name for this. It's called white knuckle syndrome. And y'all have probably heard the story of Jim Carrey. And if you haven't, this is one of my favorite stories of manifestation and success. For years, Jim Carrey was auditioning.
This is my Saturday Night Live audition. Forget that crap. Get on with the stuff that got you expelled.
Not getting roles and just trying his best to make it in Hollywood. And one day, Jim Carrey wrote himself a check for acting services rendered. And I believe the check was made out for $10 million. So he dated this check 5 years in the future. And before he was a household name and he was just a struggling comedian, rather than obsessing over getting that $10 million check, he spent that 5-year period really becoming the person that was worthy of that success. So rather than white knuckling your immediate results, I want you to ask yourself, what is required of me to hold the level of success that I desire? Because chances are, if you don't have it yet, there's certain gaps in either how you lead yourself, your strategy, the structure of your business that need to be adjusted in order for you to actually have the capacity to hold the success that you desire. And if you're watching this video, chances are you are a big dreamer like me. And so you're not just having these small, keep your dreams on a shelf type of visions for your life and your business. You dream big, you want the private plane, you want the $1 million business, you want the steamy relationship. When you want big things, you are going to have to prepare for those things. And so making sure that you as a leader are embodying the qualities required for the success that you desire is number one. And so taking it back to Jim Carrey, 5 years later in the future, he secured the role for Dumb and Dumber. And while not my favorite movie, it is such a perfect example of manifestation and embodiment, which are crucial elements of being able to not only attract the success that you desire, but be the type of person that can hold it. So the main thing that we can take away from Jim Carrey and all of this blabbing that I've been doing is detach from the timeline and become the person that can hold that level of success. And here's a really quick fun exercise that you can do. If you knew that your success was inevitable, what would shift in how you're showing up right now? Would you create content differently? Would you speak differently? Would you dress differently? Would you have different thoughts running through your mind on a day-to-day basis? Chances are yes. And so start embodying that frequency, start thinking those thoughts, start feeling the way that the most successful version of you would feel. And again, when you do this, it's not about faking it until you make it. It's about embodying it until you become it. When you start acting like your success is a done deal, you will feel way less desperate and way more powerful knowing that it's on its way. Okay, and I kind of alluded to this already, but what if you stopped looking at failure as failure and I suck and started looking at it as feedback? This is the number one piece of advice I can give you as it relates to things not unfolding as you expect or feeling like you're failing at these different things that you're attempting in your business. Feedback is actually one of the most important things about building a business. And in truth, if you are constantly succeeding, you actually wouldn't be paying attention to all of the ways that you can improve. Feedback is essential. Failure is essential. It teaches us how to grow. It teaches us what our blind spots are. And so rather than having this negative narrative about yourself when you fail, how can you actually flip the script and ask yourself, where can I improve? What is it that I'm meant to learn? And what can I do differently next time to actually excel in this project or this goal that I have? Most people see a failed launch or a failed offer as, again, a failure. But successful people people, they see it as data. I love looking at Sarah Blakely's story. She's a billionaire. She's the founder of Spanx. Super inspiring.
But my dad growing up used to encourage my brother and me to fail. And so we would come home and we would sit at the dinner table and my dad would say, "So what'd you guys fail at this week?" And if I didn't have something to tell him, he would actually be disappointed in me.
Why would he be disappointed, you might be wondering? Well, because he knew that data that we get from failure is what actually allows for us to evolve as human beings and as leaders. And there's actually countless studies that have shown that entrepreneurs that have failed in business are way more likely to succeed in their next ventures. That's because every single failure is showing that you're trying, you're experimenting, you're collecting more information to help you improve in the future. And so rather than looking at this period or this season as a failure, look at it as data. Go into it like a scientist.
Science rules.
And look at what you're learning, what you can improve on, what you want to continue to take into this next season. When you do so, you won't feel like you need to rush through these seasons of slower growth, but actually relish in them because you're learning so much more. So the next time that you hit a roadblock, instead of saying, "I suck at this, I'm not meant for this, I should just give up," I want you to actually just ask yourself, what can I learn from this? What is it that I am going to improve on the next time that I swing the bat? And how can I take this experience and let it show me the direction that I can go, taking all of this information and this data to help me make smarter decisions in the future? Because in truth, the only real failure is quitting. You will inevitably succeed if you continue to get back up. You will inevitably succeed if you continue to learn, continue to improve, continue to ask yourself, how can I get better? It's only when you stop doing that that you solidify failure. So just know you are solidifying your success by just getting back up and swinging the bat again. Everything else is just a part of the process. And when you approach it with this perspective, it's not a matter of if you will be successful, just simply a matter of when. So remember, even though it's hard to be positive in seasons when it feels like nothing is changing, everything is changing. You are changing, you are growing, and in truth, you're always taking 2 steps forward. If you found value in this video, let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. And if you want to learn more about working with me, there's some details in the description. I'll see you next time.